Oregonian, Oregon Live. I am here with our TV reporter, Kristi Turnquist, and it is the return of our Friday happy hours. We've taken a few weeks off because there has been a lot of news in the news. And it didn't really feel like the time for, a light chat about what's on television, right. But we are back. And Kristi and I are going to spend a little time hanging out with you guys on this Friday afternoon. Feel free to bring your favorite beverage and come ask questions. If you have questions that you'd like us to answer live, put them in the comments. We do ask that they be about the topic that we're talking about. So the reason that I have Kristi on with me today is that we are launching a newsletter that is going to deliver her great TV and entertainment coverage to your inbox. Is it weekly?
Yeah, it's weekly. It's delivered Thursdays at 11. It's the What to Watch newsletter, and just started this week. And so I included links to some things that I had posted on Oregon Live, kind of a roundup of streaming services, which is also in print today in A&E. I've already been getting some good comments from people suggesting shows that they've been watching on streaming services that they like, and been getting some questions from folks. And so in the newsletter, I basically am trying to kind of make it one-stop shopping, kind of a roundup of stuff that I've either reported already or stuff that's happening. For example, this week I just included a little item about HBO renewing Perry Mason for a second season, which makes me happy because I like it.
Yes, that I haven't watched it yet, but that is high on my watch list.
Yeah.
I heard nothing but good things, including from you.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm just, again, trying to sort of help people filter through the content, because in the past, anyway, there's been so much content. Now things are kind of crazy right now because of all the things that are up in the air because of the pandemic. So there's, but there's still plenty of stuff to write about and plenty of stuff to kind of sort through. So that's kind of the idea of the newsletter. And again, I welcome comments, questions. I'd love to include that kind of stuff in the newsletter as well. So I'm totally open to that.
Great. And if people want to sign up for that, they can go to OregonLive.com/newsletters, where you can find Kristi's newsletter and a bunch of our other great newsletters. And we'll drop a link to that sign up in the comments when we're done with this broadcast. So there's, like you said, there's a lot going on, and there's also not a lot going on. So in this moment that we're in, what are the things that you're paying attention to? Like, how are things different? What are your expectations of TV as we head into the fall season?
It's so funny. I mean, even the concept of a fall season is up in the air right now.
Right.
Because ordinarily this is the time when shows would be filming, returning shows, new shows, that sort of thing. And that's not really happening on any kind of broad scale, again, because of the pandemic. Now, there are some shows that are going into production. They tend to be reality shows. So, for example, I intend to keep my record of never watching Big Brother consistent. But for people who do watch it, there's a new season of All-Star Big Brother coming up that's totally shot in quarantine, because that's the whole format of the show. A bunch of people are in a house and they're all together and cut off from the outside world. So that's happening. There's a new season of The Bachelorette, of all things. I mean, the show that would seem to be impossible because it's all these people who don't know each other kissing.
Right.
I still don't know what that's going to look like, but they are supposedly filming it at a La Quinta resort in La Quinta, California, and everybody's kind of in quarantine, and I just don't know how they're going to do that.
I mean, is it kind of like the NBA bubble? Is that what they're doing?
It's like the NBA bubble. I'm sure they'll all get tested very often.
Right.
That's the other thing. I mean, even the very few shows that so far, have either been able to or are about to go back into production, they have these, safety protocols that they're observing. For example, Leslie Jones, who used to be on Saturday Night Live, is now going to be hosting a revived version of Supermarket Sweep. Remember that old game?
I do remember that show, yes.
So there's a new version of that that's coming to ABC. And they're going to be filming that. But again, with all these sort of very, stringent safety protocols, testing and temperature taken and all that stuff. And it's a strange time, because ordinarily, summer TV can be pretty quiet anyway, but this summer was originally supposed to have NBC and its related stations carrying the Tokyo Olympics, and obviously that's not happening. And there were a lot of shows, I think, that maybe might have been in the can already had they not figured we don't want to go up against the Olympics. So it's making an already kind of sleepy time of the TV year even sleepier. And we don't really know what's coming in the fall. I mean, a lot of the networks have announced a fall schedule. Now, whether they're going to be able to get into production, I don't know. Like, for example, CBS has delayed the new season of Survivor. Again, not a show I watch, but I know a lot of people do. You know, and then they're putting a new season that was already in the can of The Amazing Race. They're kind of moving that up. So there's just a lot of weird last minute juggling going on. It's really in flux.
That's interesting because, you know, spending a lot of time on social media, as I do every day, you know, you've seen talking about, you know, the Law and Order series, and, you know, they're doing a reboot of Leverage, and that the actors and the showrunners are really active on social media talking about our show is coming, but maybe their show is not coming.
That's the thing. I mean, I think at this point there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and, you know, optimistic thinking, but, you know, in terms of like the scripted shows, you know, they're not happening. I mean, ordinarily, I believe in the summer we would have been seeing a new season of Succession, the HBO series, which I love. Well, it's a show about a whole bunch of people that are just impossible to like, but it's really a good show. But obviously they couldn't film. So we're kind of just waiting to see, you know, some things are in the can and some things aren't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that segues into something I was going to ask about. A lot of the shows that you're talking about are reality shows.
Yeah.
But it sounds like scripted shows are, especially, you know, dramas and things like that, it sounds like nobody knows yet how or if they're going to be able to produce those.
Yeah, it's, you know, and again, a lot of them film in British Columbia, and the pandemic isn't as bad there. So there's some thinking that they'll be able to move forward a little sooner with a lot of those shows, and you know, a lot of shows, certainly the shows that air on the CW, for example, they pretty much all shoot in British Columbia, but other shows do too. I think A Million Little Things, the ABC drama that has David Gintoli, who was in Grimm, which filmed in Portland. It films in British Columbia too. But
are all the actors there? Because nobody's able to get into Canada right now.
Exactly. And then once they get there, they'll have to go into quarantine, obviously, for 2 weeks or so. So again, it's really uncertain. I did hear something, I could be wrong on this. Again, I'm not a big daytime soap watcher, but I did hear that like The Bold and the Beautiful was going to go back into production, but they were going to shoot it so that in love scenes, people would be kissing mannequins or something.
This explains some tweets that I saw. I mean, I guess you do, and it's not like I have a special place in my heart for General Hospital. That was my jam back in the day. And it's not like you're going for reality with those.
No, I mean they are what they are. You know, they're very consistently.
Yes. I feel like if any genre could do that and get away with it, it's your daytime
drama. Yes, that's true. Nobody really tunes into a daytime drama to see, you know, lots of expensive locations and big production values. I mean, they're able to make them on a budget.
Everything's filmed in a warehouse, like in New York.
Well, and I've been watching a lot of the you know, the late night talk shows. I mean, I've been watching them because I tend to watch them anyway, and I've been trying to keep track of what people are saying about Portland. Obviously, Portland's been in the news. Duh. Anyway, you know, and they're still doing them from home, you know, just these like a Zoom call or something. You know, Stephen Colbert is doing it that way. I guess John Oliver is doing it that way. Who can tell? Because he's just got this white void behind him. So we don't know.
I was going to say, I had questions about that because his is the one show where you can't really tell if he's at home.
No, he's just in this white void. So I don't know if he's in a studio with like 3 other people or what. But now Jimmy Fallon of The Tonight Show, they've actually gone back to Rockefeller Center and they're in a studio there. But it's just him. There's no audience. He's just there sitting on a stool. And then the Roots, you know, the house band, they're there. They're all spaced apart. And then they've got, a few camera people who you'll see occasionally with masks on.
Right.
And so the only laughter, because he still tells jokes, he still does a monologue. The only laughter you'll hear is the occasional camera person, or somebody in the band. So it's different. It's really different.
That's a much tougher crowd too.
Yes, a silent room and the band and the technical crew who are, working. So,
yeah.
But he's back, and it makes kind of a difference. It's kind of strange. I mean, at least there's a set. It's not just him in his house. Like Stephen Colbert has been sitting in the same part of his house for all these months. Seth Meyers he was up in his attic for a long time, and I guess now he's in his in-laws' house. And who knows where John Oliver is. James Corden has been in his garage, or garage, as he says, since he's from England. Garage. So I mean, you're definitely getting a chance to sort of, what do their houses look like?
Right.
What's that behind them? It's like the special kind of remotely produced, that episode of Parks and Recreation that was all done remotely. Yes. Again, you can kind of sort of see, oh, what's that in the background? What is that? Where are they?
But as I said, I spend a lot of my day on social media. They do the Rate My Room. When people
yes.
are broadcasting from their home, and a lot of it's news people, but talk shows and everything, and and it's become this art form now of like, what do you put behind you? I came upstairs in my house because my house is really hot today, and I'm in my bedroom, and I purposely put myself against a blank wall because I was not Rate My Room ready.
Oh gosh, no, it's pretty hot in here too. Let's see, I see somebody's asking.
I just saw that we've got a couple questions, and I can actually put this question up on the screen for us. There we go.
Yeah, the news ratings.
Well, why don't we publish news ratings like we did in the age of Schulman and Carlin?
Actually, that was Pete Schulberg, back when he had the TV column. Well, in those days, there were just a few channels. Now there's hundreds. And also, to get the Nielsen ratings, you have to pay for them. And I don't know what kind of a setup they had back then, but now I know you have to pay to subscribe to them. And it's not inexpensive. The Nielsen ratings also don't really record streaming ratings, and streaming
that was going to be my follow-up.
Yeah, streaming services do not reveal their ratings ordinarily.
Interesting.
And Netflix, TV critics every year at the TV press tour, which is where I would ordinarily be in LA if this was a normal year, but I'm not. The network executives are there, the streaming executives are there, and we ask them, why don't you actually report the ratings? And Netflix always says, well, we don't have to. We're a subscription service. We're not selling ads. So, ratings are basically used, to figure out how much you can charge to advertisers, to advertise on your shows. And that's not their business model. So that's why they say they don't have to reveal them. Now, they will selectively reveal them if they like something.
Right.
They'll say, everybody was watching Tiger King, or something like that.
They were.
Yeah, everybody was. I was amazed that got Emmy nominations, by the way. But
yes,
yeah,
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings news now, as I say, it's just kind of a different animal than it used to be in the old days. And most of the time, if somebody is talking about what their ratings are, they're doing it to promote themselves, and it's that's not really our job to sort of promote somebody when they want to toot their own horn and say our ratings are great. And as I say, we don't really have the kind of access to it that we were once able to have for whatever reason.
Yeah, the way people consume all content, but especially television shows, is so different. In my house, we haven't had cable in years.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cord cutting going on.
Yep.
And people are just kind of compiling their own playlists from what streaming services they subscribe to, and it's just totally different.
Yeah, it's very a la carte. You pick and choose. We pay for sports, but only during the seasons that have the sports we care about.
Yeah.
So, and actually, you were mentioning the Olympics earlier. The last time in 2016, that was a challenge. Was where do I watch the Olympics? Do I sign up for a service just to watch the Olympics, or do I watch the free stream, but they don't show everything? So it was. Once it comes back, if it happens next summer, it'll be interesting to see if people's habits have changed.
Well, and also NBC Universal has launched Peacock, which is their own in-house streaming service. And again, it was timed to coincide with the Olympics, which is why it officially launched kind of in the middle of July. Now, instead of having all the, these channels devoted to very specific, Olympics content, so you could kind of, again, really watch what you wanted to watch, like I want to see beach volleyball, and you could probably find a channel for that. That's gone. And they haven't been able to go into production on a lot of their original series that they planned. Like they've planned a new version of Battlestar Galactica, but they haven't been able to go into production on that. So what they have now is a few originals, very few, and they're mostly imports from England. And there's a lot of that going on this summer. Like Peacock they're showing Intelligence, which is a workplace comedy that actually stars David Schwimmer of Friends fame, but it's set in England and it's made in England. And then the CW, again, is airing shows imported from England. Fox is airing something called LA's Finest, which is an American-made show, but it originally aired on Spectrum, which is like you like Charter Communications. It's a company that does internet and phone and cable TV, and it stars Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba, and it's a cop show, and it already aired there, but now Fox is bringing it over to air on broadcast because they don't have anything else to show.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's cuckoo.
So you mentioned Tiger King.
Yes.
You mentioned the Emmys.
Yes.
I want to be sure we talk about this.
Tiger King nominated for Emmys.
So yeah, I mean, just let's talk about the Emmys in general, but yeah, let's start with Tiger King. That became such a phenomenon, and I had mixed feelings. That was a ride.
I had mixed feelings about it because on the one hand, of course, it's stranger than fiction. I mean, it's so crazy, but there are some pretty serious issues involved that I got sort of skated over. I mean, it's like these animals, the welfare of these animals, I thought was not taken as seriously as it might have been. And, Joe Exotic is in prison. Not spoiler alert.
Right.
So I had kind of mixed feelings about it, but I could certainly see why everybody got hooked because it's just, I can't believe it.
You can't believe what comes next. But yeah, definitely by the end, there was a little bit of, I feel bad getting entertained by this.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of feel like, I watched it, and now I feel kind of bad about myself.
Yeah.
But I confess, I was a little surprised to see it getting some Emmy nominations, but there you go. Yeah, I mean, the Emmy nominations this year were really interesting because I thought what they did, every year more and more now we're seeing such a split between what gets Emmy nominations and what a lot of people watch, because I hear from people all the time. It's like, hey, I watch this show on CBS, I watch, NCIS, it's the biggest, highest rated show on TV. These shows never get any kind of Emmy nominations. And frankly, the broadcast networks are pretty much being shut out. And the nominations are very much dominated by Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, HBO certainly, Showtime. And they're the kinds of things where, you got to pay money. You got to pay money to watch those. And I think it's kind of I think it's made the Emmys feel a little less mainstream to a lot of people. And they also get, there's a lot of good shows. And I think a lot of great stuff was nominated this year. And I think this year's nominations also were really a reflection of kind of the greater awareness of, the whole Black Lives Matter movement and recognizing the contributions of African-American creators and performers. And I mean, they really made a great showing in terms of nominations, and they're all deserving. I mean, they're all, every show and every performer, whether it's Regina King, Watchmen, Issa Rae in Insecure, Anthony Anderson, Tracy Ellis Ross in Blackish. I mean, they're really talented people, and they all deserve nominations. Sterling K. Brown has won many years before for This Is Us. He's nominated again, deserves it. He's great. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens when the awards are given out, especially since we now know that Jimmy Kimmel is going to host the Emmys, but they're going to be virtual Emmys.
Right.
So no red carpet, apparently. I don't know how they're going to do
I
that.
mean, are they going to try to do something virtual? Like a lot of people don't
Yeah.
actually watch the whole show. They just want to see the pictures of
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
dresses
or
and
just
the
watch the red
crazy
carpet
outfits.
coverage. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, because the show can be pretty boring. Believe me, I watch it
Right.
and review it every year. And it has not been terrific TV these past several years. I mean, usually at least the Golden Globes are pretty entertaining. Nobody really takes those too seriously,
Right. Right.
but but the show is usually entertaining. Whereas the Emmys, they try and they try and they try to change the format, and it usually just winds up being a slog. Um, so maybe it'll be an improvement this year to see them do it in some kind of remote way. You know, maybe it'll make
Yeah.
it more fun. I don't know. I mean,
Forced to get creative and be a little shorter, and
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do about gowns. I guess they could have people in their gowns and tuxes at home doing a Zoom call.
I would totally look those pictures up on Instagram just to see how creative people can be.
I was watching
So,
Seth Meyers' show the other night, and one of his writers is Amber Ruffin, who
mhm.
also supposedly had her own show coming up on Peacock, although that's now been on hold. But she was on there because the show wasn't among the late night shows nominated, but the writing staff was nominated.
Mhm.
And so she was wearing a gown, and she was just making a joke about how, she can wear a gown at home and just toast herself and feel very
Yes,
special. So maybe everybody else will do that too. I don't know.
we'll see. So, before we move on from the Emmys, was there anything else that kind of stood out for you? People who didn't get nominated, and I saw some of that on Twitter, like
Oh, Better
Reese
Call
Witherspoon
Saul.
didn't,
Reese Witherspoon. Oh boy, they really got shafted. I was really annoyed that Bob Odenkirk and Rhea Seehorn weren't nominated for Better Call Saul. It was nominated for Best Drama, but this past season was the best yet. I mean, it's always a good show. But
right?
this past season, I thought they were really, really above where they've been. And I thought Odenkirk was really good. Rhea Seehorn is always good, and she never gets nominated. So I was a little annoyed by that and really surprised to see Steve Carell in that Best Drama Series lead actor category for The Morning Show, the Apple
Hmm,
TV Plus show,
right.
which I liked. A lot of people didn't, but I did. It's the one starring, Jennifer Aniston
Jennifer
and
Aniston. Yeah.
Reese, not nominated Witherspoon. And it's about a disgraced morning show host. And if you're reminded of Matt Lauer and the Today Show, that's no accident. But Steve Carell plays the morning show host who is then let go because of allegations of sexual misconduct. And the role is the weakest part of the show. I mean, he does a fine job, but I don't know how he wound up in that category. And Bob Odenkirk was then overlooked. That seemed crazy to me. And Reese Witherspoon, wow. I mean, she had a very interesting year because she was on season 2 of Big Little Lies.
Right.
And a lot of other people from that show were nominated, not her. Nicole Kidman wasn't nominated either. Reese Witherspoon was also in Little Fires Everywhere on Hulu. And her co-star, Kerry Washington, who's quite good, was nominated, but Reese Witherspoon wasn't. And Reese Witherspoon, again, wasn't nominated for the morning show. So she apparently just offended someone. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe they think she's too successful. We don't want to give her a nomination.
Has she won before?
Well, no. I know. I remember
I don't think so.
She's won an Oscar. She won an Oscar
Right.
for Walk the Line, and then of course she was nominated for Wild when she played Cheryl Strayed. But yeah, I don't think she's won an Emmy before.
An Emmy? No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Huh.
not even for playing Jennifer Aniston's sister on Friends. Didn't she do that way back in the day? I think she did.
Was that her?
I think she did.
It might have been.
And speaking of which, we can't let the Emmys go without at least acknowledging the fact that Brad Pitt is nominated for his little cameo comedy bit playing Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Saturday Night Live, yes.
The cold open of the Saturday Night Live remote show, the second one they did, which I thought, wow, I mean, that wasn't a very long performance, but I guess the Emmy voters got a kick out of it. Or they just, wanted to see Brad Pitt.
Something. Yeah.
Everybody always wants to see Brad Pitt.
It's true. So, as we're talking about, everything's different. We're all stuck at home. Even the people who make the shows are stuck at home.
Yeah.
Everybody is then watching a lot of television and consuming a lot of content, whether it's, TV or audio podcasts, things like that. Right. Everybody wants more right now.
Right.
What are you watching? Like, not professionally necessarily. What are you watching while you are, staying safe?
Yeah, it's interesting because, as I sit here in the house and sweat on this hot day, I do have stuff I need to watch for work. And then I have stuff that's kind of a hybrid between I have a professional curiosity and I'm also interested in it. An example of that is I May Destroy You, this really interesting, somewhat disturbing, but very well done show on HBO from Michaela Cole. And it's set in London. And she plays a woman who's a writer, kind of a social media influencer. And she's out one night with friends and somebody spikes her drink and she's sexually assaulted, not the most uplifting topic. But the show is very interesting and smart about how it kind of deals with the effect this has on her and her group of friends. And I mean, it's sometimes funny, it's sometimes upsetting. But it's been very interesting. So, and I think the episodes are only half hour, which I also appreciate. So I've been watching that. That's been an interesting one. For sheer escapism, I tell you, I've been watching a lot of Turner Classic Movies, which I adore.
Yes.
So I'm always like taping things. So for example, I think last weekend I was sore because I've been trying to move this like super heavy potted plant in my backyard. And, I was like squatting and I'm shoving it and I'm putting it in things heavy. And then on Saturday, I realized, oh my God, I'm so sore. I thought, why am I so sore? Then I realized it was because of that little ill-advised adventure with the potted plant. So I just kind of took it easy and I watched The Philadelphia Story with Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart. I watched Summer Stock, this cornball musical with Judy Garland and Gene Kelly. It's just totally cornball, but it was, very lighthearted. And I've just been doing a lot of that. And then just, I did watch season 3 of Ozark, which again, kind of dark, kind of tense. But I wrote about this. I had watched the first season and I was kind of underimpressed. I thought they were trying to do their own version of Breaking Bad, and it wasn't as good as Breaking Bad. And I just kind of lost interest and watched season 2. But, excuse me, I heard that season 3 was good, so I thought, I'll just jump right in. And it really hooked me. I mean, I didn't even watch season 2, and I felt like I didn't need to. But it was quite well done, and Laura Linney's terrific in it. She and Jason Bateman, they're both Emmy nominated. They played this married couple who had lived in Chicago. He was like a money guy, an investment guy. It turned out he and his partner had been laundering money for a Mexican drug cartel. So they, have to move to the Ozarks, this resort area, Lake of the Ozarks, I think it is. And yeah. And so anyway, they set up another kind of a river lake casino there that's also laundering money for the mob. And again, that all sounds kind of dreary, or the cartel, I should say. But the psychological stuff's really good, and the acting is really good. And you see Julia Garner, who won an Emmy in kind of a surprise, I think it was last year, in the supporting drama category. She's also in it. She's terrific. She was in Justified, I think, for anybody who remembers her from way back when. Anyway, so that's, that's just kind of good drama. But, comedies are also sounding really good right about now.
Right.
I was emailing with a colleague earlier, and she was saying they've gone back to watch Silicon Valley again. Silicon Valley was a really funny show.
Yes.
Very clever. So I would recommend that to anybody. I did a roundup recently of kind of workplace comedies to watch if you're missing your coworkers. And there's a bunch. I mean, there's, Parks and Recreation, there's The Office, you could watch Superstore, or go back as far as like Mary Tyler Moore's show or the Dick Van Dyke Show. They're nice escapism.
Right.
You were talking about how you like to watch some of the older stuff.
Yes, before we started the broadcast, I was confessing that I'm not watching a lot of current television. I've been watching a lot of older television, a lot of the X-Files, and kind of those comforting things from the 90s, and a lot of 90s movies too. I've rewatched, and it's not a comforting movie, but for some reason I've rewatched Jurassic Park like 4 times this summer.
Well, yeah. Yeah, the dinosaurs do kind of stomp.
The dinosaurs, yeah, the dinosaurs come to life and try to eat everybody. But
They do. But it's
there's a happy ending.
Green resort.
Yes. Yes.
We're not going to any sort of leafy green resorts right now.
That's true. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just miss Hawaii.
There you go. Yeah, so I mean, even though it is a weird time in terms of new stuff, I mean, there is no lack of stuff available to catch up on if you have access to it. If you do have Amazon Prime, I mean, I went in there the other day and decided to watch To Catch a Thief again with Cary Grant. I guess I'm on a Cary Grant binge. Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. There was all this beautiful scenery of like the French Riviera. Oh my gosh. And it was just like a little mini vacation from the comfort of my couch. Yeah, so it's, I mean, I guess I've just been finding a combination of kind of stressful, disturbing stuff and total escapism. That's sort of what's working for me.
You gotta find that balance.
And then when all else fails, the Great British Baking Show. Nothing relaxes me more than watching that.
I think I'm the only person on earth who has not watched that show.
You're missing it?
And I know. And my brother and his partner are constantly, it's so good. You need to watch it. It will de-stress you. And I just haven't done it yet. And I need to put it on my list.
Oh, and the best seasons are the ones when Mel and Sue are the hosts, the two British ladies. And Mary Berry is still on there. And, and everybody is so nice. And they'll cut away to that nice green area outside the tent. And you'll see a close-up of like a little lamb. So bucolic. Escapist pleasure.
That's awesome.
And hey, speaking of that, Downton Abbey is now on Peacock.
Yes.
So if you have Peacock, you can go back and watch that. And see lots of rich people and their extremely patient servants waiting on them. But yes, so it's escapism.
A little escapism.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for doing this with me today.
Pleasure.
For anybody who joined us late, I was talking to Kristi today because we are launching a newsletter. It's what to watch. Is that correct?
Yeah, what to watch.
What to watch. It'll come out weekly, and it'll have all of her recommendations of what you should watch right now. And you can sign up for that by going to OregonLive.com/newsletters, and we'll drop a link to that in the comments as soon as we're done with the broadcast. But thanks for hanging out today. It was a nice little Friday happy hour.
Yeah, well, thank you, Julie, and thanks to anybody who was checking us out.
Great. Thank you.
Happy viewing.